Welcome back, and today is Saturday, 22nd of October. Time check, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time or 10:30 p.m. Singapore Asia Time. And today marks the 100th 100th day of the 100 Day Stock Market Inspiration series on our YouTube live streaming. I want to thank you all for supporting us over the past 100 videos. It's kind of an amazing journey that we've gone through together. But on the 100th day, we got the most important news to share with you right now. So welcome back, and let me dive into this piece of news. Kind of a shock everybody in the world, but we got to go in to analyze it. And here we go. We are looking at China's ex-president Hu Jintao leaves the stage unexpectedly at the closing session of the CPC Congress. This has never ever happened before in the history of China. And we need to go in deep to really understand what's going on and kind of connect the dots with the thesis I presented to you over the past 2 weeks. Right now, we can close the loop and have clarity. And in fact, tomorrow, they'll present the entire Politburo, probably a 9-man team, to the world. So first thing first, I think I want you guys to watch a very, very important video. And when I'm playing this video, I will kind of mark out the body language and certain nuances that's kind of been observed by the public, all right? And let me switch over the screen right now. And it all starts from here, whereby the main committee members, and of course, we have President Xi Jinping seated at the center at the most prominent place, Li Keqiang on his right, and previous president of China, his predecessor, Hu Jintao, which is seated right here. Okay, we're going to mark out these 3 square boxes, and we're going to start the video from here. Along the way, I'll stop and give certain commentary, all right? Here we go. So the first instance, excuse me, the first instance when this guy came over to hold his right hand of Hu Jintao, he kind of struck it off and said, look, I'm sitting down in my position, right? You can see you can make the observation. The second attempt, he put both of his hands under his armpit to lift him up. To just tell him, get out of your seat. All right? Now, I want you to watch Zhan Su. This guy is called Zhan Su. He kind of trying to play the conciliatory role to just assure Hu Jintao that, hey, everything is fine. All right? Then, the next instant, something happened. He stretched out his hands. He wanted to grab this very important document on the table. Now, this document actually belongs to him. As you can see, everyone has a document in front of them. Everyone has a document in front of them, all right? So that document kind of shows the command of power held by the person sitting at the seat, and it's very, very significant because the moment Hu Jintao stretches out his hand to touch the document, look at how swift President Xi Jinping came in to hold the document on the table. Watch this. Watch this part here. Ready? Here we go. Boom. He held it, and this guy, let's call him the bodyguard, straight away, his hand stretched out, he's going to take control of this document. Watch this. All right? So he kind of block off everybody. President sees a shirt, no one's going to touch the document. He quickly moves his hand away. Now, this guy closes in. 2 hands grabbing the right hand of Hu Jintao. And this guy right now is talking directly, whispering to Hu Jintao and saying, "Look, dude, you got to stand up." So this, typically in a situation like this is the devil, the bodyguard, and this is the angel. All right. So you have angel and devil playing their roles at the same time, and obviously this is the victim. All right. So devil is telling the victim, "Look, you got to get out of here. I got to move you out." And an angel plays the role of assuring the victim that all is fine. All right. And straight away, you see, what exactly is he holding over there? I want to backtrack a little bit. He's obviously holding on to his own document, right? So this document belongs to him, and he is holding on to his document, all right? Let me backtrack. I want to be very, very confident about this one, all right? So that means before the start of the video, when the bodyguard came to the table, Zhan Su has already taken hold of the document that belongs to Hu Jintao, all right? So this one belongs to him, but this one that he places his hand on top belongs to Hu Jintao, all right? So he kind of nailed that down already. And with that, we're going to fast forward to the part where he's talking to him. There you go. He passes the document to the bodyguard. Perhaps that's the signal to the bodyguard and a message to Hu Jintao that you got to follow your document. The bodyguard is taking over a document. If you don't follow your document, you lose your power, I suppose. Nobody knows what exactly is going on out there except obviously all these individuals here, they are complicit to the whole act. All right. So he passes the document to the bodyguard. And I think that's the message to Hu Jintao. You got to follow your document or else you have no power, I suppose. All right. So at this point in time, you can see his face is completely devastated. What the heck is going on right now? Everybody caught by surprise, right? And we continue. Then again, the devil is telling Hu Jintao, "Look, I got your document with me right now. You got to follow me, all right?" And he continues. Again, he assures him, "Look, I got your document. Touch it." And he places on top of his hand and then lift it up again. And finally, Hu Jintao is willing to stand up. Hey, can you see over here? There's a video edit. Somebody cut something out. Because all the media that were allowed into the room just before this saga took place, they were all kind of a recording. You can hear the cameras clicking away. But again, the Chinese, they have the 100% censure rights. What is the final version that you can be allowed to show to the world? And that's the reason why we saw an edit. One more time. From here, observe, boom. Right? There was a very quick edit. And at this moment in time, the second bodyguard appeared. So there are two bodyguards right now. The second one appeared, and right now the second one should attempt to communicate with Hu Jintao. All right? So here we go. There you go. His hands gesturing to Hu Jintao. This is your direction to the exit door. All right. And at this moment, you may miss one very important scene. Watch this guy. I want you to watch this guy. He's almost about to stand up, but the guy on his left pull him down. All right, this guy, watch this guy. He's about to stand up because he's still paying respects to the previous president of China. He's still giving him the due respect, right? But the guy on his left pull him down. Watch this part. Oi! He stood up and watch this guy. His hand on his back, pull him back. He stood up already. That's basic. I mean, among Chinese, we are so used to basic protocol. Someone senior of higher authority to you, when he stands, you stand. He stood up because he doesn't know what the hell is going on also. And this guy reminded him, sit down, watch. Boom. Straight away, boom. He sat down, right? So we're going to continue from this part here. Very, very powerful scenes unveiled. He walked. Bam. Straight away, his hand went to touch the shoulder of the president of China. Look at this. He touched and then look at his mouth. He said something to him. I assume you're good. Ni hao. All right. Watch, huh? Here we go. He said something, and then President Xi replied to him, yeah, 走吧. Just go on. Move on. Watch. And the final gesture is the most important gesture. For him, when he touches President Xi, was just nudged. But when he touches Li Keqiang, it was a comfort. The entire palm is placed on the shoulder. All right? And I explained to you the backdrop of this, which I kind of covered in the previous video, that they have one camp, it's called the Hu Jintao camp, that they want to push Li Keqiang to succeed Xi Jinping as the president of China. But right now they have lost their plot, completely destroyed by President Xi Jinping. All right, so look at the hand, 100% on the shoulder. It's more of a comforting hand. Watch. The entire palm placed on top of the shoulder. And he's basically signaling to him, and he's also signaling to everybody watching, this is my chosen one, not Xi Jinping. That is the reason why Hu Jintao is escorted out of this arena. Because he wanted his successor to become the president of China, and Xi Jinping will not allow that. And watch this palm, 100% on the shoulder, to tell everybody this is rightfully the candidate. But too bad, when he's kind of ousted out in this manner, is a signal to everybody, you try to be funny with Xi Jinping, that is your fate. And with that, watch, as he goes out, he was almost bursting out in tears. There you go. This is Chinese politics. It's mind-boggling. That's why there is a Chinese saying that, if you have stepped down from power, don't try to mess up. You should just retire gracefully and don't kind of interfere and still try to be a kingmaker. And that's your fate. He could have stayed on gloriously, but he wanted to manipulate the process with an incumbent president that that's the end for him. And even the right people he put in place to succeed Xi Jinping to run the country will all be killed. I mean, literally killed in the sense that they'll be stripped of their powers. And that's exactly what happened to Li Keqiang. And all this is playing out. I mean, there's so much wisdom in that 1 minute video, so many touch points. And, it's something big for us to learn from. So I'm going to show you the next part. I'm not too sure you guys can handle it or not. All right. So this is the part that kind of show you how powerful President Xi Jinping has become with 0 votes against him. Check this out.
现在提请表决，同意的代表请举手。
Those who vote for him, raise your hands. Everybody raise your hands.
请放下。
Anyone object
没有，
to the agenda?
没有，
None.
没有，没有，
没有。
And watch. Who is missing here? Hu Jintao. Because if he's around, he will take the lead to raise the opposing vote. And his supporters will also raise the opposing vote to stand with him. And that is the reason why, the hammer has to come down hard on Hu Jintao. He's gone. Just before the vote count. And it's a very public vote count. And Xi Jinping wanted to cement his 100% endorsement from the cadre members. He has to get rid of Hu Jintao. And that is the signal to everybody. You just shut up, do your work. This is the centralization, 100% authority at the top of the pyramid. This is the demigod that they have to follow. So you can see this is very different from all other politics out there. Of course, every country's politics play out differently. In UK recently, we observed that it's kind of a joke right now that I'm also scratching my head. Why should I bother studying in Cambridge when the country is in a mess? In the US, it's even worse. It's so dirty, the politics in the US, because so much things is at stake. Then between countries to countries, many, many things will happen. Now in Singapore, we kind of have a hybrid of US and Chinese politics combined together. So far, I'm very, very pleased with Singapore. And I tell you why. Today, after many, many years, I have not gone to this place called the Budo Interchange Hawker Center. And today, because of my son, I went to this place and I was completely shocked. What did I observe? The very food stall, the chicken rice stall that I grew up eating the chicken rice, it was still there. And the entire environment, the hawker center is right now integrated with the train station, 100% under the shelter, no noisy buses, no dust, no smelly exhaust. And they are doing so well in their business. I mean, it's like, I could never imagine because I grew up at the Budo Interchange. And back then, the hawker center was like dirty, smelly, hot, humid. And because it's right next to the bus station. And, as the bus roars away, the exhaust will just boom. The smell will just come to the hawker center. And it's horrible. But right now, it's, wow. The same people running the store, I grew up here and I'm so amazed. So, there's certain telltale signs, and I'm thinking like I should do videos like this to show people. Go back and trace your childhood and see whether your country has progressed. The places that you're so fond of, that like maybe I've not gone back, maybe I gone back probably like 20, I've not gone back to the place for 20 years. Go back to a place that you've not gone back for 10, 20, 30 years and see whether the place has progressed or not. And that is the signal of the country's politics. Does the country care for the people? If the country cares for the people, then those places that you have not visited the last 10, 20, 30 years, you have been completely transformed because you are given more than sufficient time for them to do well. But if you go back to a place 10, 20, 30 years ago and it's still the same looking place, that's the answer. The country doesn't care about the people. All right? So in this regard, the many thoughts in my mind, I've switched back to this screen. Yes, we are looking at the communists right now. Confirm this, we have got two extreme, on one hand, we have the extreme of the 100% democracy of the Western politics. On the other hand, we have the 100% communism in the Chinese politics, right? So you got two extreme. One is fighting for democracy. Wow, I have the right to do whatever I want to do, and I don't care. I have the freedom of choice. The other one is, no, you don't have the freedom of choice. It comes down, top down, from party leadership. You don't agree, I send you to the farmland out there and hard labor for the next 10 to 20, 30 years of your life. So you have these two. And the hybrid of these two is, I think, is where Singapore represents. And I don't represent my country. I just represent myself. I think Singapore's kind of in between. But in between, the thing that Singapore stood out from these two opposing societies is that we're 100% hard on corruption. I think this is the most distinguishing feature or the unique advantage of Singapore. A thorough fight against corruption. And it's all out, really, it's all out. That's what it counts. And of course, there are politics in every country and all that. But so far, I think it's still clean. You cannot buy votes. You can have gerrymandering and all that, but it's still clean politics in my regard. So let's study the Chinese, the extreme of communism, centralization, authority, pyramid, whatever names that you want to call it, all right? And it gives us some time to think about, we have all the time to observe the last 5 to 10, 20 years, how different countries progress. Now, you and I would agree that China has progressed so much. But nearing to this date, as in today, Saturday, and tomorrow they'll present the Politburo, the nine most powerful men in China, all right? And today, this event must happen. What is this event I'm talking about? To move the opposing camp led by Hu Jintao and Li Keqiang, one shot. Look at this missing person here. It's a signal. Don't mess with the Emperor Xi Tata right here. Is this good or bad? Nobody knows. We have to see the next 5 years, next 10 years. But for where China is today, that they can stand up to bullies. And one of the things that I really, I really fight all the way is to stand up to bullies. And I met many bullies in my life before. I fight them all the way. They are dealing with a mad dog right here. I'll bite and will not let go. And that's exactly what the Chinese is trying to show. They've been tolerant, and, once, twice, many a times, the bullies keep coming after China. And perhaps this is the message they need to send to the world. We are unified, step one. We have a full party, 100% vote from the party members, no matter what you call, whether it's a scam election or whatever, doesn't matter. You see, it is what it is. All right. And from this moment onwards, from tomorrow onwards, into tomorrow is really, really important. They are sending a very powerful signal. Anyone, point number one, anyone within the party that's not for the party, boom, they'll get it. Point number one. Point number two, once the internal politics has been dealt with, then they have to deal with the external politics. A unified front to face off with the bullies. And you and I know who are the bullies. And point number three, while you're facing off the bullies, you need to rise up the population. Give them better life, better tomorrow. Exactly what I shared with you just now. Go and visit those places in your childhood. 10, 20, 30 years that you have not gone back before, go and pay them a visit and see, because you can straight away see the dramatic change. It must be like 10, 20, 30 years you've not gone back, and you went back, boom, like it hit me today. The same chicken rice store was there, doing so much more business in a clean environment, integrated with a shopping mall. Holy moly, where can you get that in the world? And then you take the same question, look at China. Has China progressed or backtracked? They have progressed. Because the richest of the rich of the Chinese are right here in Singapore. I was invited to Tower Club, one of those country clubs in Singapore for business community. And while I was there, like suddenly out of nowhere, 10, 20 people appeared. I say, hey, I asked my host, who are these? From the look of their dressing, I confirmed they are from China. The Chinese people are here, right? They will contribute into commerce, into the business community. They bring along with them a lot of money, a lot of aggressive ambition and all that, right? So they are throughout the world. You cannot stop them. They'll be in your country, in Africa, in Kazakhstan, in Middle East. The Chinese are everywhere. I'm talking about the Chinese from China, right? So much things for me to look at it right now, and I believe from tomorrow onwards, he has consolidated his position. We right now need to read the market with China always in our lens. Now, how are we going to do that? It goes this way, all right? So here we go. We're going to break apart this article. And I'm spending more time because it's, kind of a part of my thesis in thinking about China and how to look at Chinese stocks and all that, right? So here we go. China shuffles leadership committee and retains many Xi allies. He can't be fighting an internal war while fending off bullies out there, right? So here we go. Wang Yang, who is known to be more market-oriented and a potential premier candidate, was not included in the new list of 205 members of the Central Committee of the Communist Party. Li Keqiang, Shanghai's party secretary, and other President Xi Jinping loyalists remain on the Central Committee list. This Central Committee list, there's 205. Tomorrow they'll present the Politburo. There's about 9 of them, all right? 4 of the current 7 members of the Politburo Standing Committee were not on the list. 4 of the current 7, right? So left 3. He got rid of more than half. 4 out of 7 is more than half, all right? And this 4 probably kind of belong to the Hu Jintao camp, because Hu Jintao was president of China for 10 years. All right. So that's the history. And then we come down right over here. And here we go. That Central Committee of 205, let me get the number right. Central Committee of 205. Yep. The Central Committee of 205 members then goes on to determine the core leadership, the Politburo, and its standing committee. All right. So I remember Politburo as 9 members. I don't know why it dropped to 7. I'm not too sure about it. I'll go and study back. All right. Names for those core positions are due out midday Sunday, which is tomorrow. And then the 9 of them will stand up, cameras flashing all across, and then that is the final signal to the world. All right. 4 of the current 7 members were not on the list. Only 3 who remain were C, that is Xi Jinping, number 1. Wang Huning, known for his work on ideology, and Zhao Leji, current head of party discipline. All right, so these 3 are the Xi Jinping camp. Li Keqiang, Shanghai's party secretary, and his Beijing counterpart Cai Qi remain on the central committee list under the 205. All right, not the Politburo. And then you go on down right here. This is really fascinating stuff, right? Li Keqiang is Xi's protege. Other Xi loyalists the Asia Society had identified were included in the list of the new Central Committee members 205. The 205 is very powerful. So Ding Xuexiang, Politburo member, and essentially Xi Jinping, chief of staff as well as in charge of his personal security, meaning he's among Xi's most trusted circle because of his personal security. All right? So he's inside the Central Committee member. Chen Ming'e, Politburo member and a party secretary of the Chongqing municipality, a job he gained by Xi's abrupt ousting of the prior secretary. And that's why this one is Xi Jinping man. Huang Kunming, Politburo member and head of China's propaganda department, who worked closely with Xi in the provinces of Fujian and Zhejiang. And you know, there are many from the Fujian people coming down to Singapore. They are the one buying up all the Suntec towers out there. Very, very powerful, okay? All this from Fujian one. Oh my God. And then they speak in their Fujian dialect. Say, hey, what I'll just tell them, yeah, I understand what you're talking about. And then they try to switch to another dialect. Foreign Minister Wang Yi remained on the new list. Despite expectation he might retire, leave room for a shift in China's foreign policy, which has turned increasingly aggressive. Chiang, China's ambassador to the US, was also on a new list under 205. Hu Chunhua, another favorite for a premier role, remained on the list. And Hu belongs to the Hu Jintao camp, right? Hu has close ties to Xi Jinping predecessors Hu Jintao. Promoting him would signal leadership unity. He got rid of the old man, kept 1 or 2 of his pawns around. We see appointing people from outside his faction. And Hu Jintao was escorted out from his seat next to Xi during the closing ceremony before they voted. So I've given you the sequence. He was escorted out before they went for the vote where everybody raised their hands and there was 0 against the agenda. It was unclear why he was unexpectedly ushered out. I think probably Xi heard certain things that Hu Jintao is going to vote against him and make the scene really ugly, all right? He can't afford that because the real fight is the external battle, not the internal battle. So who was left out? People's Bank of China Governor Yi Gang was not on the list, while China's Securities Regulatory Commission Chair Yi Huiman was. Wang Yang, who is known to be more market-oriented and a potential premier candidate, was not included in the new list of 205 members. Out he goes. Li Keqiang, out he goes. The guy seated on the right of Xi Jinping because he belongs to the Hu Jintao camp. Boom, out. Liu He, the guy who shook hands with President Donald Trump, a vice premier who led trade negotiations in the US, was not on the list as well. Out. Banking regulator Guo Shuqing was not on the new Central Committee list. Out. How many of you are enjoying this class today? Really fascinating to study Chinese politics, and you can leave some comments on the chat, and later on we'll come and pay my regards to all of you. One more article to go. Really, really fascinating stuff. I love to study this, and this is the one that kind of dissect earlier on all the nuances, how the body language, and really, really important to understand, right? Mystery as former Chinese leader is escorted out Communist Party Congress in front of world media. So, today's event give weightage to what I shared with you over the last few videos, that through our insider information, we heard certain information that there's an internal party struggle. And that is the camp led by Hu Jintao and opposing the camp led by Xi Jinping. And today plays it out really beautiful. This is finesse. All hands up by signaling to the world that guy must go. All right. So let's take a look at this article right here. Former Chinese President Hu Jintao was led out of the country's Communist Party Congress, CPC, in a moment of unexpected drama during an otherwise highly choreographed event. Now, they didn't mention he was escorted out just before the vote cast. The 79-year-old was sitting beside President Xi Jinping in Beijing's Great Hall of the People when he was approached by a man in suit. I call him the bodyguard and surgical mask, who spoke to him and appeared to pull his right arm. Not just right arm, but both his armpits as well, right? While Xi Jinping looking on, the man then placed both hands under Hu's armpit and attempted to lift him out of his seat, which was very ugly. But they don't care. It's a show. It's a signal event. Xi appeared to talk to his predecessor before the man got between them and tried to lift him again. The second bodyguard, another man in a mask, arrived, who eventually stood up and after appearing to attempt to get back to his seat before he was escorted away. After exchanging a few words with Xi and placing a hand on the shoulder of Premier Li Keqiang, the nation's number 2 official. Just before the incident, Hu had been speaking Li Zhanshu, the guy on his left. All right? That's the guy who stood up halfway and pulled down to sit back again. The chairman of the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress, the top leadership team in China. All right? Li had his chair turned toward the former president to talk as Hu was led away by the man. Li Zhanshu attempted to stand up but was pulled back down by Wang Huning, another party leader. 不要多管闲事，坐下。No explanation was given for the incident, which lasted several minutes and took place shortly after international media were let into the hall. They let the media enter the hall. That's why you hear the clicking of the camera, right? It's all intentional one. To report on the twice-a-decade event when the new promotions and appointments was announced and political strategy is decided for the next 5-year cycle. And it came after the party approved amendments to its constitution aimed at cementing the core status of Xi Jinping and the guiding role of his political thought within the party, which has around 96 million members. Woohoo! Among the amendments, this part is very important, all right? This is the part I'm going to spend more time to formulate the strategy for China. Among the amendments, the two establishers define Xi Jinping as the core 核心领导, as the core leader of the party, and his ideas as the guiding principles of China's future development. The two safeguards assure Xi's core status within the party and the party's centralized authority over China. So this is like mammoth. This is huge. The Central Committee will announce the new Politburo tomorrow, Sunday, which typically consists of 25 people. A new standing committee will also be announced, the top leadership team of the party. This is where Li Keqiang, a strong proponent for economic reforms, was among 4 of the 7 members of the nation's all-powerful Politburo Standing Committee who will not be reappointed in the leadership shuffle Sunday. He's out because he's the Hu Jintao camp. It is widely expected Xi Jinping will hold on to his status as General Secretary and head of China's armed forces. So he controls the army right now as well. In fact, he controls almost everything in China. Given the cementing of his status as a core leader, he could also be named party chairman. Wow, 主席, 党主席, a title previously bestowed only on Mao Zedong, who ruled the People's Republic of China for 27 years after he was founded in 1949. And his third title, president, is not up for renewal until spring. So his 总统 Xi Jinping, 党主席, 党秘书, wow, he got 3 titles, man, solid. So Xi's power appears undiminished by the events of a tumultuous year, including a sharp economic slowdown, frustration over his zero COVID policy, and China's increasing estrangement from the West, exacerbated by economic competition, tensions over the Taiwan Strait, and differences over Russia's war in Ukraine. So many things is happening. He's in control. He did a cleansing of the party members. And now he's going to be the party chairman, 党主席. However, Xi's long-term political future was not guaranteed, according to Andreas Fauder. What does he mean? When there are setbacks or failures of government, people will blame the man, he said, adding that under previous presidents, power was dispersed more collectively across different ministries rather than through the central party. With Xi Jinping being so prominent, the party so omnipresent, whenever something goes wrong in China, the party will be blamed and Xi Jinping will be blamed. Now, this is true, but don't forget, all the media propaganda machines censor anything that's negative. Unlike Western politics and democracy, you can write any damn thing, call the president any damn name, you will not get into any damn trouble. Not in China. Highly censored. And they'll track you down, send you for hard labor. So very different. It's how you manage information dissemination. And I think he controlled it right. So in his closing remarks, President Xi said Chinese Communist Party now in its 100th year. Woohoo! 2020. And I kind of, how they calculate 100 year? 2022 minus 100. 1922. That was where the party was formed, I think. The Communist Party of China is once again embarking on a new journey on which it will face new tests. The Congress concluded by playing the socialist anthem, the International. And I'm going to play you this song right now. Okay, kind of seeing all the wrong pictures. Not appropriate. I had to cut it off. So that sums up tonight what I want to share with you about China's politics, which will have a major impact in our lives. the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Major impact. We can already feel it here in Singapore. Many of the rich Chinese are here competing for the prime properties in my country, competing for employees, competing everywhere. They bring that culture of efficiency into Singapore. So where do we stand? Where do we stand is part of my message on 4th November. How do we compete? You have a rising China, all-powerful Xi Jinping. You have a US politics that's gone to the dark side. They kind of like to trigger wars out there and totally mismanage the inflation crisis. So how do we compete in such an environment? West is going haywire. East is getting stronger by the day. And according to one of the smartest guys in Singapore, his name is called George Yeo. And he said it in a video. If you don't take China down today and you wait for it to keep growing and become all powerful, by then it's too late to take it down. I mean, people are thinking like that right now. So, not so simple. The end conclusion to today's video is that we have to learn Chinese, or else you don't understand the nuances. You don't understand when they speak in Chinese, what exactly do they mean by the time you translate it to English. You lost the essence. And of course, many observation, Chinese culture, Chinese protocol, Chinese way of doing business, all very, very different, right? So it depends on what you want to do. I mean, you can also pick up the language really fast by marrying a Chinese wife. That's the fastest way. Or you can go and live in the Chinese village. I mean, it's still something that will be very comfortable. We eat rice, we eat healthy, we love the countryside and all that. So many things to think about from today's event, and tomorrow will be all exciting. Now, I'm coming to the end of the 100-day stock market inspiration, and I've not concluded on what I want to do after this 100-day series yet. Sorry to disappoint all of you. Some of you turn up today. You want to know what's the next phase. I want to pray about it. I want to give it some serious thought. Because this timing kind of is a very, very weird timing. First, I have to adjust the timing. Then I want to see the impact that I can make through the live streaming video. Am I making good impact? If not, it's wasting everybody's time. And maybe there are other formats of the presentation I need to improve on. So those are the things that go through my mind. And, I got quite a big homework to do tomorrow. I want to get that cleared. And then I'll give it more thoughts about this 100-day stock market inspiration. What's the next phase going to be like? All right. So don't worry if anything that's going to pop up, you will definitely be notified. Just make sure that you guys are really connected with me on our YouTube channel. All right. So spiking.com/YouTube is the place that you should go. And once you're inside there, can I make sure that you guys are doing it correctly so that you'll be notified when we have a next live stream. So right over here, this is youtube.com/spiking. And, one of the ways that you can really be close to us is make sure you join us. Click on this join button. We've got so many members joining us, and that's something that, top of my mind. I want to make sure I continue to support those who join us as a YouTube member to give you the fullest support, right? It's just tidying up the details of the format, the delivery, and making sure, you all get the maximum impact. So make sure you join, you subscribe, you click on the notification bell when I go live. then straight away you are alerted. All right, so that's the way to do it. Or other than that, I want to thank all of you so much for supporting this, the start of the live stream. We completed 100 days. Can you see how fast it is? A blink of an eye, boom, done. We're finished on that. So I'm thinking more in terms of series basis. What's the next series leading to the book launch? And I still got a lot of work to do for the book launch. And most importantly, getting my mind settled down for 4th of November, where I'll meet all of you live. And today just arrived another. This is our collect them all red color spiking cap. Just arrived today. Really beautiful cap. All right, so I wore it for the first time today, and not sure you can see it sharp. So some of you might be getting this if you come for the 4th November Capital Tower event, and I hope to see you there. Thank you once again for supporting this live streaming, and look out for our next alert. Thank you, and may God bless you. Goodbye, everybody.